Hello, rockers, readers, friends, family, and memers. This is Cocobandz with our very first episode of Coco's Chill Book Reviews. Today, I'll be reviewing The Color of Magic, Sir Terry Pratchett's first book in his legendary Discworld series. Now, when I review a book for you guys, I want to tell you what you might get out of it and learn yourself, not just give a summary of the story. While future reviews will include and may even be heavy on nonfiction books based in reality, I have the belief that there are some life lessons that can be learned through well-written fiction. I chose the Discworld series because I had read that the life lessons and morals Sir Terry alluded to in his books have, for the most part, stood the test of time and are still appropriate for today. And when looking to escape from the real world, I still want to learn lessons that are applicable to the real world when exploring fantasy. While I believe the books with more social commentary are found later on in the series, I still quite enjoyed the first few books and felt like I've gotten something from them. Now, Discworld is a series of loosely connected stories told in 41 books by the late British author Sir Terry Pratchett. The Discworld itself is a planet of sorts, a planet shaped like a disc, mounted on 4 giant elephants that are standing upon a giant turtle, Antoine, who himself is swimming through space with all of this sitting upon it. Now, before we start talking about The Color of Magic, the first book in the Discworld series, we should note that there has been discussion about which Discworld book to start with first. This question arises because the 41 books in the series follow many different characters and explore different genres. Some will also note that the quality of the writing tends to increase technically later on in the series as Sir Pratchett grows as a writer, and naturally so. The more you do something, the better you get at it. I sure hope that my future reviews are better than this first one. Now, for me personally, I did a little research beforehand that I might end up, enjoying the series, so I started with the first book. But there's no wrong way. You won't be completely lost if you start with book 4 or book 8 or later on or what have you. But me, I like to understand the world from the beginning and see how the scope and lore is going to progress throughout the series. The same way I like to learn about and understand the way our Earth works here in the real world. The Color of Magic introduces many great characters, including Death itself, who will later return in book 4 as the main character. But the 2 protagonists for The Color of Magic are Rincewind, a wizard who can't really do magic, and Twoflower, who is a tourist from a faraway land or faraway world. I'm still not really sure which. Twoflower, the tourist, has a treasure chest of luggage that follows him around, staring at everyone rather woodenly, chasing friends and attacking enemies. I will say that for a 40-year-old book, the humor tends to hold up pretty well throughout for me. I'm not a gutbuster, I'm not a big laugher, but I caught a few slick chortles reading this book. The themes are more limited here, as the first 2 books in particular are supposed to be a bit of a parody of books like Lord of the Rings and fantasy conventions and fantasy stories that were popular in the 1980s. I'm 3 books in right now at the time of this review, and Twoflower is still my favorite character. The tourist really brings out the best of Terry Pratchett's writing. Everything he says is so absurd but logical from his mind. He has this, own way of thinking. And you really learn how to accept that some other people are going to be living life coming from a completely different point of reference. And that's okay. Rincewind, the wizard, gets a lot of character growth throughout the book, a lot of character development. It's a case of, the guy who's usually always keeping his head down and running away from trouble, all of a sudden finding himself running into a lot of trouble in several series of unfortunate events. Now, I won't spoil the ending, but the book does finish up quite satisfactorily. It almost serves as a nice part one to the Light Fantastics part two. The Light Fantastic being the second book in the Discworld series following The Color of Magic. The book also sets up Discworld as a fantasy setting that millions would come to read and adore pretty well. There's some annotations, a couple throughout the book to add a little more information to the lore and to the setting. I will say that I enjoyed my time reading The Color of Magic, and that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, feel free to let me know in the comments or shoot me an email at the address below.